Hello and welcome to the video. I'm going to finish off my predictions for the play-in tournament by guessing the games for the 8 in both conferences that are going to take place tonight. I'm going to try to keep getting more and more content out for you guys. This was kind of a perfect little break in between the regular season and the postseason that I was going to use to do a lot of stuff, like putting out videos for all my awards and everything like that. But I just had to go and get sick at the absolute worst time possible. So that's made that much more of a challenge, but we'll see what I can do. So guys, first look at what my predictions were for the play-in tournament. My East ended up being pretty wrong just with the Bulls because I had them going to the game for the 8 and then also winning that game against the Hawks, but they got blown out by the Heat. Every single one of these games were blowouts other than the Warriors Grizzlies, which was not really all that close. It ended up looking a little bit closer than it actually was because the Grizzlies kind of came back into it, but Warriors were pretty much in control of most of that game. But yeah, at halftime of the Bulls Heat game, it was like 71-47, which I believe it was the record for the biggest halftime differential in play-in history, which has now been 6 years long, which is pretty crazy to think. But then over here in the West, this is still a possibility. I had the Grizzlies winning against the Mavericks in the game for the 8, and that is going to be the actual matchup tonight. But I don't know. I feel a little bit better about the Mavericks now. I don't know if I'm going to switch that pick or not quite yet. But back to what the actual bracket looks like. We've got Heat versus Hawks tonight. If you would have just given me this matchup without the previous games as context, I would probably pick Hawks with how bad the Heat have been since the trade deadline. But they looked really good in that game against the Bulls. I think the Hawks will be a little bit better defensively than what the Bulls were, because that Heat Bulls game was basically just a layup line. Seemed like Vucevic and the other Bulls players were just like allergic to the paint when they were on defense. Tyler Hero was essentially parting the Red Sea every time that he drove. The Hawks aren't a great defensive team, but Onyeka Okongwu will probably provide more, defense inside than Vucevic or anybody else they had out there on the Bulls. So my brain wants me to pick the Hawks, but the vibes just seemed pretty bad after that Magic game, and the Heat's vibes are definitely really high as they've been, ever since the Jimmy Butler trade. So that's going to be big there. I'd be curious to see if there's ever been a 10 seed that has won the game for the 8. Let me check on that really quick. Yeah, so there's never been a 10 seed that has actually made it into the playoffs. There's actually only one season that the 10 seed won the 9-10 game. And that actually happened in both conferences that year in 2023. It's a very short history, so it won't be that crazy groundbreaking stuff if a 10 seed does win the game this year. But again, just like 2023, there are 10 seeds in both conferences still alive. But yeah, so my logic and my brain, wants me to pick the Hawks, but my gut is wanting me to pick the Heat. So I'm just going to go with my gut on this one, even though I think the Hawks should win this game. I'm going to bring the Heat in as the first ever 10 seed to make it in as the 8 and going up against the Cavs first round. Somehow the Heat, it just feels like it's postseason time and the Heat just come alive. There's something different about April down there in Miami. And then over here in the West, like I said, I did have the Grizzlies and Mavericks in this game for the 8, and I did have the Grizzlies going in there to face the Thunder first round, and I think I might stay there, even though I feel like it's kind of the same exact thing with the other, with the East. Like my head tells me Grizzlies, but at least my vibes kind of tell me the Mavericks. Klay Thompson had a really big game against the Kings. Maybe he brings that out again. Desmond Bane played really well in that game against the Warriors, but Jaren Jackson Jr. was a little absent. So I'm just going to go with the Mavericks again, the 10 seed again, I should say, and just do it. So, it's the first time ever a 10 seed has made it in, but I'm just going to have it happen in both conferences with AD playing well, PJ Washington, Najee Marshall. I know I said last video that my biggest worry with the Mavericks is their lack of guard play, but Dante Exum came in there and had great minutes in that Kings game. So maybe he can keep that up, keep them afloat. But yeah, those will be my official picks for the play-in tournament. The teams that come out of the games for the 8. And thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys next video.